Welcome to Let's Play Xenosaga. Now this is quite an underrated game, and many of you may not enjoy it as I do, but I certainly do think that once you put the effort in to get past the cutscenes at the beginning of the game, it's extremely rewarding. And with that I think we should continue onwards. The next 12 minutes will be cutscenes, and if you'd like me to include a skip button, do so in the future. But for now, let's begin with a cutscene I've already shown you. But this isn't where the game begins. Let's take a look. Roll the cutscenes. Like now. Bang.
Concentrate on the northern cliff tomorrow. The ground there is hard, so be careful when you dig.
Yes, sir.
Doctor! Dr. Masuda!
What is it? Did you find something?
Yeah, we followed the corridor from the lakeside. It matches the location described in the
That must
research
be
paper.
it. Good. Show us where it is.
It's different from the others.
I knew it!
It's over there.
This must be...
Commencing startup experiment. Open up an interconnection.
Roger. Opening interconnection. Connecting with dummy protocol.
A-line protocol zone secured.
Opening cage partition. 60 seconds to release. Beginning countdown. 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51.
All monitors clear.
3, 2, 1. Partition open. Proceeding with Kosmos body formation.
Body formation complete. Commencing Penfield mapping.
Proceeding with encephalon construction.
Mapping percentage at 76, 77, 78.
Encephalon construction complete.
There's noise appearing in the temporal lobe.
What's the problem?
It's on the left side of the temporal lobe. I'm showing slight stimulation of the synapses in section 818. It's within permissible bounds, though. Do you want to abort?
No. Let's keep going. Just stick to the menu. I'll try for a direct approach. Back me up.
Roger. Launching Nataraja connection system.
Password accepted. Commencing Nataraja boot up sequence.
At the side, I've picked out the terms which the database in the game actually tells you what it is, but the game itself doesn't explain and you wouldn't know without playing it. So the first one we'll bring up interconnection. It's basically a mutual interaction. It's the in-game reference to the act of establishing a non-local connection using the VR2000, which I'm pretty sure is the gear that Xion was wearing on her head. This method frees the data transference from the limitations of physics, allowing instantaneous exchange of data across distances millions of light years apart. It utilizes the EPR paradox, which I'll explain at the end, which is a bit of physics, so if you want to go there, listen to the end, which constitutes the heart of the UMN, which we'll also get into soon. The UMN is the Unus Mundus network, and we'll get into that shortly. Now, the dummy protocol is a network of protocols used to connect Kosmos' perception to that of the operator via the VR2000. Since Kosmos is a standalone unit and does not require external feeds, this protocol is used only when Kosmos is shut down. Cage partition. Data which forms the essence of Kosmos' being is stored within these sectioned areas of her main database. Penfield mapping. A map of the brain which shows the distinct functional regions of the cerebral cortex. The in-game reference is to the digitalized procedure which links Xion's cerebral regions to their retrospective regions in Kosmos'. Encephalon. The word for brain in the Greek language. The in-game reference is to the simulated environment built inside Kosmos' main network. Direct approach. A process which entails disengaging the VR2000, the conduit that connects the perspectives of two individuals, and transferring one's consciousness directly into the encephalon of the other. This act of directly entering another's individual realm of consciousness can inadvertently cause one to lose their own sense of self, also known as diving. Nataraja, an avatar of Shiva, represented as a dancing figure with many arms. It is of particular interest that the system is named after Shiva, who is also the god of creation and destruction. The system itself was designed by Kevin. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing. I'm trying to condense them down, but I'm just trying to get the information to you at the end of every cutscene without breaking things up too much, which I hope I've managed to do. So anyway, back to the episode.
Alan, there seems to be a problem with the visual field connection.
Ah, I see a small break in the MT field, route K12. It looks like the bi-directional link in the V4 field is lagged too. Hold on a minute. I'll fix it now. How is it now, Chief?
Okay. Looks good. Let's keep going.
Roger. Proceeding with Kosmos host separation.
Morning, Kosmos. How do you feel?
Good morning, Xian. All systems are normal.
Well, how about introducing yourself?
I am an anti-Gnosis humanoid fighting system, serial number 00000001. Development name KPX, abbreviated name Kosmos. As I am currently configured for simulated battle, my output is limited to 22% of its normal capacity. My estimated weapons specifications are...
All right, that's good enough. Thanks.
You are welcome.
All I have for you today are the usual startup tests. Sorry to wake you up just for that. You'll have to go back to sleep once everything's checked out.
I see.
Do you feel sad or anything?
A predetermined set of emotions has been hard-coded into my emotion module to better facilitate interactions with humans. In order to better facilitate a relationship with you, Chief Engineer Shion Uzuki of the Kosmos Project, Vector Industries' first R&D division, I will emit an expression such as sadness only when that response is deemed necessary. However, the emotion module of my program has determined that this is not necessary at this time.
I guess you're right. I, of all people, should know that.
Your understanding is appreciated.
But you know, Kosmos, I've got mixed feelings about all this. Of course, I'm happy that you're awake, but the fact that you'll go back to sleep makes me a bit sad. On the other hand, the next time you wake up, it may be a time of much bloodshed. So deep down inside, I hope that day never comes. Understand?
The algorithms I have been programmed with do not support the comprehension of illogical human thought.
Well, I hope you'll be able to understand someday.
I will do my best.
All right, Kosmos, shall we get started? Alan, let's pick up from process 277 where we last left off.
Roger. Placing target drones in the encephalon. The drones are set to random movement and enemy ambush. How about a test run before the mission, Chief?
Sure, let's do that. Did you get that, Kosmos?
Affirmative.
Empty field. The empty field of the temporal lobe. Damage to this area of the brain results in a condition called motion blindness, in which the eyes can see but cannot track the continuous motion of an object, such as a person who is running, or a moving car. Instead, objects in motion appear as a series of flash photography images. It is said to the individuals with this condition, a normal conversation is perceived as a teleconference call with a very slow transmission speeds. V4 field. One of the visual fields of the brain. The human brain is said to contain 30 or more of these visual fields. Damage to both sides of the V4 visual field will result in complete color blindness. Woo! So that's the introduction. A little unusual in the sense of how all those technical terms, which don't actually explain because they're just technical jargon babble. Anyway, basically, this game features much like any other combat system. You run into an enemy on the field, it initiates turn-based combat in an extremely large arena which appeared out of nowhere. Apart from this time, they're usually not that bad with this. Yeah, so they're just saying this. We're not going to talk to the soldier because he'll just give us all the explanations of what's going on, and I can do that myself. Let's switch to real combat. Well, yes, I am ready, Kosmos. Let's do it. Okay, so you can have up to 3 members in the battle at once. Only 3, no more, no less. No, sorry, no more, and you can have less depending on when the story depicts it, but otherwise it's 3 when you get party members. The enemies usually fall into 3 categories. Your mechanical enemies, your biological enemies, which are your human enemies, and your Gnosis enemies. Gnosis we don't know yet, we haven't heard of, but apart from she is an anti-Gnosis, so obviously she's good at fighting them. Keep your eye on attack roll, right? It's turn-based, as in you get your turns, they get their turns. Now your regular attack, you see the bar at the top which says AP and the four arrowheads. Now that is basically your action bar, and as it says, you can use bars from that to use your actions. 2 is a regular attack. At the moment we don't have circle attacks, but circle attacks are the ones which use up 4, and I think 4 or 6 depending, and, well, let's get on this. Depending using tech attacks, okay. 3 types, okay, some are effective. You've got different types, different things are effective against different ones, blah de blah de blah. There we go. Okay, so we can target any enemy you want. They're on. You see at the bottom, they're in a different sort of field that shows you the 3 up there. It shows you the enemy which is next, so you can target them, and you'll see the one that you target jump up at the bottom. And you can choose 2 attacks because each of these regular attacks uses 2 arrowheads from the act bar. I'm going to call them boxes from now on. So let's get on with a knuckle and a stun shock. Now you can turn the names off. As I said, the animations are quite long. You deal enough damage, they die, often in quite a bit of pool of blood. Now, as you can see at the bottom, there's this thing which is up and an explosion. That signifies what's happening. Like, for example, this time, physical attacks are more powerful in this particular go. Now, the next attack you see here, we saw both the defense and the critical there, is this attack means if we kill them now, we get tech points. So if we can kill it, which I don't think we can after that attack, 30, no, we can't kill it. Damn it. But we missed out on the extra tech points. You kind of always want to kill them on the tech points. But let me just explain this. We've got a guard, which means you only use 2, which means you can get 4 the next go. That's the way people get around that system. Now, you'll attack with a grenade, we'll both be defended, and then I can come out of the rage and kill them. This is a tactic which you want to use if you want a lot of, there we go, Lightning Blast. Now when you've got 6 of them, you can use a special move, your circle move, which you can't use on your own. Unless you have a certain weapon equipped. Now they're usually more powerful, but you do have to level them up yourself. You see their point times 4. Really confusing, but a really rewarding battle system when you get your head around it. Defeating bosses on the point scores gives you times 4 of what you normally would have got. And you see, that doesn't look like it's been times by 4, but it actually has. But there we go. No items.
All processes to 300 cleared.
Chief, the data transfer is going smoothly. The A-line protocol is looking good.
It sure is. The response levels are really good.
If we can maintain these levels, we'll have some great results soon.
Yeah.
Chief?
Hey, Alan. Let's skip all 300 level processes and start from 400.
Huh? 400? Chief, but that's...
I feel pretty confident this time.
But, Chief... Remember what happened last time? Had we waited 10 more seconds to intervene, we wouldn't have been able to get you back at all. Can't we at least test it out in objective mode?
You know we can't get precise data that way. I'll be fine. If something happens, I'll get myself out. Besides, you want to test it out as well, don't you? We spent all night building the native A-line protocol.
Well, yeah, but...
That settles it. Let's get started.
Alright then. But if anything happens, I'm gonna shut it down from here. So don't press your luck.
All right, all right.
And don't deviate from the program.
Okay, Mom.
Jeez, this is so typical of her. Will she ever stop to think about the hell I go through for her?
You know, sir, the way you worry about Chief Uzuki all the time, I'm surprised you haven't keeled over already.
Hey! That's enough! Is the 400 level program ready to go?
We're ready to go anytime.
Then start up the program. I want detailed reports from every monitoring station. Any abnormalities, and I'm shutting down immediately.
Welcome back after that cutscene. I'll explain something that was mentioned there, but first of all, Kosmos. Actually, I'm going to explain a bit about this space to Kosmos. It's an imaginary space constructed within the network. It's modelled after some ruins from the early 2000 AD, our time. So our mission is to fight off the main target within the dilapidated building. The target is marked with a red vector box. The objects in here can be detonated. Some are effective if you set them off near an enemy. Use them to your advantage. Now they cause certain things inside the level. Now, as I mentioned before, 400 level processes, or they've mentioned before, it's just different ways of testing Kosmos' battle capabilities. So now I've explained all that, I'm going to explain the EPR paradox, and I hope that you don't get too confused. If you want to turn off now, well, welcome to the end of Let's Play Xenosaga Episode 1. See you guys. If not, please continue. This is going to be me explaining the EPR paradox using pudding. So let's get to it. The EPR paradox is used in Xenosaga's world to explain the travelling of data faster than the speed of light, which is great when you've got to travel light years, because that's just how long it would take light to travel for a year. So, the whole thing was invented in 1935, and the EPR stands for Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen. That comes from Albert Einstein, Boris Podolsky, and Nathan Rosen, who are the people who invented it, to kind of slap quantum mechanics' dick around a little because they didn't like it. And basically, the famous paper they wrote on it was called "Can Quantum Mechanical Description of Physical Reality Be Considered Complete?", which was their way of saying up yours. The paradox they created, however, does take your head to get around a little. So, let's start with the basics. Their paradox was, you have a pion, a neutral pion. Now, a pion is a subatomic particle. For now, just think of it as a pudding. A pudding which is unlike the gigapudding in the fact that it is stationary. It is not spinning in any way. It is stationary, not moving. Its velocity is 0. Now, using conservation of momentum rules, we can say that the momentum before the decay of the pion, or the decay of the pudding, is 0. Because mass times the velocity, which is 0, is 0. You don't even need mass to work that one out, because it's 0. So, the momentum before is 0, therefore the momentum after will be 0. Now, when a particle decays, it can spit them out in two completely opposite directions, with opposite speed and opposite spins. So, imagine your pudding suddenly spitting out, not even spitting out, but splitting into 2 tennis balls and firing them out in the opposite direction. Seems implausible, but it's happened, so don't shit your pants just yet. Now, as they've both gone off in the other directions, we can prove that they're both travelling with opposite speeds. The reason why, momentum. It's got to be conserved. Momentum is a vector quantity, which means that if I take left as the direction I'm going in, if I travel right, I'll be going a negative number, because it's a vector quantity. It's something with a given direction. So, they split off in 2 opposite directions, which means one's travelling with a positive momentum, and one's travelling with a negative momentum. Now this negative comes from the negative velocity, because velocity is also a vector quantity. So, times both the numbers together, and they've got to be the same number, because they've got to equal 0. So it's like 1 plus minus 1 is equal to 0. So both of those sides have to equal the same number, which means, since both their masses are constant, so does both of their velocities have to be, bar the negative. So you can then say that their spin and their velocity are the same, but travelling in opposite directions. Now, if you've got your head around that, that's fantastic. Here's the complicated bit. You want to measure the x-axis spin of one of the particles. So you go for one of them, measure it. Bingo, you've got it, lovely. Now you imagine the one on the opposite side would be the opposite, and everything in your head goes, that's completely right. Quantum mechanics basically shits on your hand at this point and says no, because as soon as you viewed that one, the one that you viewed and measured, the other one instantaneously has changed. So you cannot measure it with this and use that result you got in the other one. You cannot at all. So, Einstein said, wait a minute, that means there's got to be something travelling faster than light, and you don't explain that, so you're not complete, which he means he's right, which is perfectly spot on. There needs to be some data transfer which says, oi, other particle, it's seen us change, which is what it must have done, because otherwise it wouldn't change, and that's got to be instantaneous, otherwise you could measure the other one. Now think about it. That data has been transferred over possible light years in not even a second, not even a femto, not even a picosecond, which is actually more than a femtosecond. Damn. So yeah, Xenosaga uses that, the answer to the EPR paradox, what makes it work, that data transfer, to transfer its data and explain how it works in the real life. Now if you think that's quite clever, and it is. And that's another thing that I really love Xenosaga for, using that using that real world to sort of explain how their concepts work. Now hopefully you appreciate this episode. If you didn't, please explain to me why not, and give me feedback in the comment below. I'm new to doing this, so hope to see you in the next episode of Let's Play Xenosaga, and don't worry, there'll be a lot less terms and it will be a lot less long. Thank you for watching.